What's up? What's up? What's up, y'all? It's Tuesday and Savage Talk with Keefa is back. Yeah. I hope y'all had a fabulous weekend. So it's Tuesday, Savage Talk with Keefa, and I have some great things to talk about. But first, before we start, make sure you guys download that app, 101 TKO Radio. Download the app now, or you can stream and listen in live on YouTube. There you can give me all your questions. You can tell me if I'm lying. You always know I say, look, if I'm lying, you better tell me, because I believe in only dropping facts and real knowledge. Okay, so look, I'm excited to be here. I have some great things to chat about. I hope you guys had a great weekend. But look, you may not know this. So most people have heard about holograms with Coachella, right? If you're in the hip hop music, if you're in the fashion, that sort of thing, you probably have heard of holograms with Coachella. But check this out. Higher learning meaning college, where you get your education, get them 4-year degrees, them 2-year degrees, them master's degrees, and them PhDs. Higher learning. There are colleges and universities that are going to start using holograms. Yes, y'all. Yes, y'all. Hologram professors, so that you can truly have an interactive learning experience full of technology. Why? Because y'all know y'all was not doing them Zoom calls right. Remember when COVID hit and everything just abruptly stopped being in person and sort of moved to online formats? Well, back then, what formats did we have? Zoom communication, right? You can hop on a call. You can use webinars. You can use WebEx, GoToWebinar, streaming meeting platforms. But those platforms were not designed for interactive learning. You know how I know? Because it's not 3D. Check out all the whiteboard features on these softwares and platforms. Yeah, you have a whiteboard feature. You can share your screen. But imagine showing up, because you can actually show up to your college or university in the classroom, and instead of behind that podium being an actual in-person human being professor, he beams in like Scotty with a hologram. How would you feel about that? Because check it out, your experience, it is still a full experience where you can interact with your professor. In fact, take it even a step further. What if it's not just the professor? What if you have other students hologramming into the classroom? In fact, you can have an entire class with the professor that are all holograms. How dope is that, y'all? Let me tell you why it's dope. Because number one, who doesn't think about school shootings? See, I think about that for my children. Maybe not for myself, but I think about it for my children. Our children can't even be safe learning in a learning environment with holograms. See, if I send my child's hologram to school, I ain't got to pay no bus fees. Well, maybe. I'm still going to pay taxes. I don't have a problem with that. But if my child can hologram the class and get the entire experience of working with the professor, being able to stay after school, do all of the activities with respect to learning. Now, we're not talking about hologram sports. Okay, that's just, it can work. But is that like fantasy football? Is that like, something virtual where it ain't really happening? We're not talking about that. We're talking about interactive higher learning, where holograms can interact with each other and create a total interactive experience with not just one person, but multiple people. Things that we have, think about our video games, the virtual reality video games. What took so long for this to come about? Like, seriously, y'all, we've been having these video games that's ultra realistic. Why couldn't these universities send us an ultra realistic hologram and charge us ultra realistic a whole lot less money? Because now instead of my professor having to actually drive into work, do all of those things, they actually can manage safely from their home, from their office, wherever. But we get a full-on virtual experience. And what's even better, if you're someone like me that loves tech and you have to do presentations to show some technology, what's better than interactive holographic pictorials of your technology? So what I want you to think about is, think about how it's made. You guys know those videos, or it was a TV show. I don't even know if it still comes on. It was called How It's Made. And that show would take you behind the scenes with big equipment, tractor trailers, tires, pipes, all of that stuff. And they would show you how it's made. Now, there's something about watching something be made, especially when it is technology. You hear what I'm saying? When you can see how something is made, what I love about that is it opens up your realm of possibilities in your own mind. Those of us that have been marginalized in school, like we had teachers tell us, well, you should think about taking home economics class, where they kind of pigeonhole us into things because they don't believe we're bright enough to do STEM stuff. Now, see, I'm of the age where I've experienced that personally. Like, I've seen it personally in my own life. And as a result, my realm of what's possibility for me was shrunk. And it was only through personal growth and development that I discovered, wow, I actually can do all of these things. I love science. I love technology. So having holographic depictions, it helps people who've been marginalized, who don't typically have access to this type of visualization. And let me tell you the other reason why that's important. Because not all of us learn the same. See, I can watch a holographic picture of some technology being put together. Like, say, for example, a computer. I learned how to break computers down, rebuild them, upgrade them, and all of that stuff. Now, had I learned that from a holographic tutorial versus reading a flat book, I would have been leaps and bounds further and less frustrated back in the day. Can you guys relate to what I'm saying? Like, really, we all learn differently. My daughter, for example, she can draw these anime characters to scale. She can look at them once and then she can draw the whole thing. Have the fingers the right proportions, have the head, the eyes, all of that, the right proportions with respect to anime or however else she wants to draw it. But now, if she had to read in a book how to do that, I would have pulled out every hair in my head. For real. I'm one of those parents where if you send my children home with something and you haven't already taught them in the classroom and you think I'm going to teach them, listen, I'm going to be calling my AI buddies because I'm not going to stress myself out. The truth is, I don't know how to do it. And it ain't no shame in that. I don't know how to do it. This is why I love artificial intelligence, because it helps me do the things that I need to do to create the life that I want without knowing coding or the granular details. Back in the day, that used to separate the haves from the have-nots, okay? If you didn't know granularly how to do something or didn't have the funds, or if your parents didn't send you to a STEM school because maybe they didn't know themselves. My daddy was a bus driver. My mom worked for an insurance company while she worked, processing claims. So how can they show me something they didn't know if it wasn't even in their realm of possibility? So artificial intelligence, this is why I love it. Holograms is just one application of artificial intelligence. And I'm not talking about deep fake with fake people. I'm just talking about real people rendered as holograms. Technology, pictures rendered as holograms. So you actually can see all the way through the ins and outs. What difference would that have made in your learning? Now, even though they're talking about college and universities, why not do this in kindergarten, in first grade, second grade, third grade? This is where it's most important, to tell you the truth, because by the time we get to college, if we are taught to have enough faith and confidence in ourselves that we're smart enough to benefit from college, that's if we're taught it. We end up at college where we can actually benefit from a college experience, higher learning, higher education. But the reality is, so many people get stopped long before they ever even consider college. So I want holograms in kindergarten, Kinney, okay? Kindergarten. I want holograms in kindergarten, holograms in the first grade, second grade. So that's my mission. While they're testing it out in college and universities, where people are paying these exorbitant fees. But check this out, y'all. When we can figure out, and I'm talking hypothetically, because the truth is it's already figured out. It's already figured out. In these college and universities, they have to come up with ways to quantify the rates that they're charging now. Yeah, these college and universities, just like a regular small business would, they have got to rebrand how they're doing things. Because if you just selling the same old degrees, for hundreds of thousands of dollars that I'm going to owe even when I get out of college and I'm doing the thing that I paid to learn, like doctors, do you know most doctors still owe money from college? Yeah, they do. So that's the stuff that happens in our country. That's not the good stuff. And see, now that we've got artificial intelligence and holograms, most of the time, the colleges and universities, they're not the first one to learn this technology. You know what happens is students. It's students who figure it out, and then the college and universities get the grant money, so they give it to the students. And that's how they end up with the technology. So do you believe we need these colleges and universities? And let's say, yeah, we do for some areas of learning. Yes, we do. But there's a lot of things we don't need a college and university for anymore. In fact, the real world and the digital world and online is doing a better job teaching people certain things. And I'm going to give you one example. The internet technology, digital marketing, online businesses. What colleges, and y'all tell me, listen, if I'm making this up, you tell me, what college or university has more experience in online technology, in drop shipping, e-commerce, What college or university has more experience than the folks that's out here making the millions of dollars doing drop shipping, e-commerce, and all of those things? Colleges and universities are not in the business of generating money in online sales. So these are some of the things we're going to be talking about today, y'all. Hope you're ready. So saddle up, give me both your listening ears. Make sure your ears is cleaned out. You listening to Savage Talk with Keefa. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. What's up? What's up? What's up, y'all? Savage Talk with Keefa. We are back. We're back. We're back. So if you missed the first part of the show, I've been talking about holographic higher learning. And actually, I've taken it even further than that. You know, remember I talked about your realm of possibilities in your own mind expands. When you have access to certain technology, your own realm of possibilities will expand. So sometimes when I am telling you guys what's coming down the pike, when I see technology like holographs and things coming up, that's really where it's coming from. My own mind of possibilities. I'm telling you things that I can see happening just if we amplify the technology that already exists, okay? And so right now we're talking about holograms. Holograms used in colleges and universities, but I expounded on that, y'all, in business. So listen, I am a small business owner. I have several businesses, but check this out. Suppose those of you who know I own a gym, what if I wanted to bring in a celebrity trainer? But instead of flying this person in, okay, that's going to incur a cost. Instead of flying them in, they holograph in so that all of the people, whoever they are, members, non-members, wherever, imagine this. Imagine being in Piedmont Park for a huge, huge fitness event. And all of your favorite celebrity trainers are there. Okay, with the best music, all of your favorite celebrity trainers. Y'all know Atlanta, y'all like that step. Y'all like that step, right? That step is that's like aerobicized to the 100th degree. Okay? We don't even really say aerobics no more. However, it is still a scientific term. It's still a scientific term. But check this out. Imagine being in Piedmont Park. But let's say it's not fitness. Let's say your favorite music artist. But instead of them being there in person, it's all holographic. Imagine that. So me as a small business, if I want to bring in celebrity coaches to do step classes, I can do that for a fraction of the cost, especially if I know the technology. So instead of it being $3,000, y'all know I'm just throwing numbers out there. You got flight, you got food, you got all of these things. Instead of it being a weekend, for one day, for one hour class, imagine that the technology, I can holograph celebrity coaches in to teach step classes. And not only that, I do it at a fraction of the cost. It's beneficial to me, the small business. It's beneficial to my members, who I let them know they can see how I am advocating and working for them. I'm bringing their favorite celebrity trainers, and it works for the celebrity trainers because, see, they don't have to fly. They get to do this all from the comfort of their home. And, you know, I'm even going to go a step further. In order to make it super easy for them, I'm going to ship them overnight all of the things, all the technology they need. Okay. And then not only am I going to ship them everything that they need, and maybe it's just a plug-in USB device or something like that. There is nothing that they need to learn. There's nothing they need to learn. So remember how I talk about bringing value to the people you need help from? First, you got to bring value to them. So am I bringing value to them in that manner? Yeah, because they're still going to make money. Yeah, because they don't have to leave the safety of their own gym or their own home, so it's comfortable for them. Yes, I'm exposing them to a whole new audience. that they wouldn't have otherwise had access to. All because my realm of possibilities opened up enough to allow me to visualize, okay, I can bring this trainer in with a hologram. But what if you have an autistic 10-year-old that struggles with learning? Can you bring a hologram 101 teacher, trainer to their room? Yes. You see how this works? It is expanding the realm of possibility so that you create the life you want, you build the relationships you want, and you're creating a life that you love. All of those things. And we're just talking about holograms. But this is what I was talking about during the break. Right now, these corporations like Target, Walmart, these retail stores, there is such a huge problem with theft, right? You hear about it on the news. These crime gangs, is that what they calling them? Where they looting they running up in these stores, 10s, 12, like just gangs of them. Literally bum rushing the stores. Nobody can do anything. It's like a sideshow. The sideshow in Oakland, unless you got 5,000 police, you ain't doing nothing. You can't even infiltrate the sideshow. That's how massive and expansive it is. So now these crime gangs, they just busting up in these stores and grabbing stuff off the shelves. I mean, some of them ain't hardly trying to hide. They making feeble attempts to put a mask on, and they just smash and grab. Is that what they still call it? Smash and grab. I know in Oakland they call it bipping, but look. So this is some of the things that's also coming. These large retailers, because in order for them to deter the theft, they started using these cases. Now, I remember years ago they was using cases for certain things, right? They was using cases for certain things. But then they went away from the cases. Now they're bringing these cases back. And the cases, what they do is protect the product, because now you need an employee to come unlock the case just so you can see the product. Now, here's what's happened. These retailers have been losing business in droves because of this. Communities have complained. We don't want these cases, these type of stores in our communities, because they're bringing the property values down. Are you saying we all are thieves? Because you guys cannot handle your crime problem, you're going to penalize all of us. So what's happened is they have learned that the stores, these retail stores that have these cases where you need an employee to unlock it just so you can see what you're working with, their sales have gone down as much as 25%. Some of the retailers have left the area, closed the store, left the area altogether. But that does no good either. So if business is down 25%, and the studies show the reason why business is down is because consumers do not like to, number one, we don't like to buy stuff we can't experience. See, when I'm in Target, I like to pick up some off the shelf, read the back so I can see the ingredients. I like to shake it and feel, okay, is this half full? Has it been open? Different things. So now that these products are in the case, I can't touch it, hold it, feel it, read the back unless they call an employee. I wait for an employee. The employee comes with the key. They unlock the case. They hand me the product and stand there over me and chaperone while I do what I'm going to do. I, as a consumer, don't want to do that. So instead, I'm just not going to go. I'm not going to buy from that store. So since these big retailers know this, they are thinking about instituting holograms. So check it out. What if there's no longer a case, but there is a hologram for everything in the store. I mean, probably not everything, but most things. Imagine holograms for technology items, right? I mentioned my headphones during the break. Imagine that there's a hologram for these headphones. Imagine that there's a hologram for your ring light. There's a hologram for that Apple iPhone that you want. It's a hologram for it. Have you seen the holograms in Times Square? There's a hologram at the airport. If you stand in the TSA line, there is a hologram of a gun with an X through it to remind you there's no guns allowed in the airport or taking it on the plane. I think you could check them, right? Can you check a gun if it's unloaded? Like, yeah, I think, I don't know. Y'all don't give me the line.
I think so. If it got to be like in a case or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, we know that Atlanta gets so many guns. I saw that on the news. People forgetting that they got guns in their purses, all of that stuff. When you go to the airport now, there's a hologram of a gun with an X through it to remind you no guns allowed. Now, in my opinion, that is an excellent, excellent, excellent use of a hologram. However, why not put that at the front door where people just coming in the airport? Why are you waiting until they've already gone through TSA? See, I'm thinking they do it on purpose because they want to confiscate them guns so that they can turn around and sell them. Because, just like all of that lost luggage, they're not just having that stuff sit there. Them TSA agents be taking that stuff, giving it to their kids, giving it to their children, lost luggage, employees is going through that stuff, taking out the good stuff, and then sending the rest to that warehouse where they sell all of that stuff. So holograms, you're going to be seeing those more and more. But there's some excellent some use cases for holograms. And I think, of course, education is one. I really think it's so crazy now. Listen, I don't know if I'm the only parent like this, but I've said before, I have an 11-year-old and a 17-year-old. At least twice a week, I think about school shooters and if my kids are prepared. I think about that. Now, am I a crazy parent, or is that just the world we live in? I think about school shooters. I also think about other students in the classroom that have mental illness and they're punching on teachers and they're doing crazy stuff. I think about that as well. I think about other type of terroristic activities. So that's the world that we live in. You tell me, am I a crazy parent, or are these real worries? And because of that, there are excellent use cases for holograms. If my children could get everything they needed, a full interactive experience at home, I'm talking about at home, I would do it in a heartbeat. As much as I love my kids going to school and giving me a much needed break, I promise you, if they could get a holographic experience and learn, and I believe they would learn even better, because number one, I know teachers are different now. They're a lot younger, but these teachers, a lot of times, they're not prepared to teach all of the students that they have. So sometimes they're not prepared because there's too many children in the classroom. Other times, these teachers is just crazy. And they trying to be friends with the students, sleeping with the students, fighting the students back. All of these things, people are on edge. People are unhinged. And I'm talking adults and children. They are overstressed. So if we could unburden the school system by implementing holographs, why wouldn't we do that, y'all? Why wouldn't we do that? Now, if I'm crazy, y'all know, send me a comment, tell me how crazy I am. But I believe that that's the way. And I believe if I started a school right now, let's say I started a charter school that was 100% holographic, from teachers to all the students, where you could experience all your learning. Well, I shouldn't say all, most of your learning, because some things I do believe you have to socialize. You've got to socialize in person for some things. But imagine most of the learning, not social connection, but most of the learning being holographic for your child. Would you do that? That's what I want to know. I'm starting a school from children, let's say from age one through 6, the first through the 6th grade. Let's start with that. I want you to think about that. Would you sign your child up for a 75% holographic school? I'm not saying virtual, holographic. Think about that. We're going to talk about it after the break. We'll be right back. You're listening to Savage Talk with Keefa on 101 TKO Radio.
If I could be you,
What's up? What's up? What's up, y'all? Savage Talk with Keefa is back. We are back on the air. So, look, we've been talking holographic higher learning experiences, expanding that to all education, expanding that to businesses, finding different use cases for using holographs. That's what's crazy to me, y'all. Holographs. This is what I see too in the future. I talked about this during the break. Y'all might think this sounds crazy, but internet speeds are getting faster and faster and faster. That's just how technology rolls, faster and faster. Now, there was a time where teleportation was just really a thought. But the reality is, we know that through quantum entanglement, that quantum particles in one location can do something, and that affects quantum particles in a whole nother location in the universe. This is proven fact. So, teleportation, where that used to be just not real, reserved for sci-fi movies. Y'all remember Back to the Future? Everybody knows Marty McFly. Really, every age, every generation knows that movie Back to the Future. For real, for real. And it's a great movie because it challenged all of our ways of thinking of our realm of possibilities. That is why people love the movie Back to the Future, because one crazy doctor believed in a flux capacitor and the ability to go back to the future for whatever reason. Now, teleportation, this is what I think. I don't think teleportation is going to be possible in the sense that you're probably thinking. And let me break it down. You put something in a pod, let's say a human being, and then that human being shows up in a pod in a whole nother location, time and space, whether it be past or future. I don't think it's going to work like that. But what I think is, because we have robots and AI, machine learning, and we have the ability to print skin, 3D printing, we can print skin, we can make organs like uteruses, those sort of things, like organic material. It's my belief that you will be able to put an organic material made robot anywhere. You really don't even need a teleportation pod. You will be able to transport that organic material robot into another location. Now, I'm not talking about necessarily time and space, but another location from, like, I'm at the house and I'm going to teleport myself to the store, something like that. But the way that it's going to work is that our internet speeds will get to the point where they can be like light speed. And what actually happens is not true teleportation, but what actually happens is that on the other end, at the other location, a totally new, reconstructed, rebuilt, exact copy clone of that organic material being will be built. And it will be so fast, it will appear to be teleportation. When in fact, we are just, listen, y'all, you hear what I said? See, I'm always putting myself in there with the money, okay? What we're going to be doing is actually rebuilding. We're going to be rebuilding an exact replica down to the organic material made up of cells and the inorganic material made up of protons, electrons, neutrons. Y'all remember all of that? And now even nanoparticles. Nanoparticles. Each nanoparticle is its own robot. Y'all, look, I know that there's people out there that's going to say I'm crazy. Just like when we used to watch the Jetsons. And it all seemed crazy. everything that we watched back then, I'm telling you, there was a time when color TVs, people thought that was crazy. There was a time when people thought movies with sound was crazy. Vehicles. Remember when everybody was riding horses? Somebody came up with the first vehicle while they were talking about Henry Ford. Same thing with the airplane. So what you view is impossible and crazy, you better believe somebody like me is already in the closet working on the details in the technology. This is why it's imperative to have your own mind open to the realm of possibilities. Because what you don't think is possible, somebody else knows it's possible. And it's the knowing, it is the knowing that is possible that has us get on the journey to figure out the technology to make it happen. The technology comes after the thought, y'all. After the belief that it's possible. Technology comes after. It can't be the other way around. It cannot be the other way around, y'all. You got to get that. You have to get possibility is in the mind long before reality. So yeah, we're talking holograms and holograms for higher education and all education and different applications of the hologram. There's something else on the horizon. There is something else on the horizon. And to me, it's kind of funny and exciting because I'm a lover of horror movies and all things zombies and all of that kind of stuff. But there's another thing on the horizon, and it's called cryogenic trust. TRUSTS. Y'all know what a trust is? You know what cryogenics is? So think about a trust. With a trust, people that have living trust, a trust is how to say how you're going to do something when you die. You can have property in that, like real estate property in that trust. You can have money in that trust. You can have lots of things in the trust. Animals, clothes, shoes, whatever. Now, suppose your body is in the trust. And the trust says, I am to be frozen. I am to be frozen for all of eternity, or as long as my estate can pay for it, or until I can be revived and relive or cloned or whatever. There's a company now where you can pay. Now, depending on how long your bread is, you can get your whole body frozen forever. Basically, they fill it up with antifreeze. It's different than embalming because cryogenics, the aim of cryogenics is preservation. Okay, preservation. Embalming, like you did, and the aim is to, for a short term, preserve you just for funeral services, wakes, and all of that stuff. But cryo's aim is to preserve for as long as needed until the technology comes along that will allow you to make use of whatever it is you've frozen. You're familiar with freezing eggs, freezing sperm. That's what most people are familiar with. Or if you get your finger cut off, put it in, freeze it until you can get it reattached. Like we all learned that. If you lose a limb, see, I don't know. Growing up in the Black community when you was a kid, I don't know why we all learned that, but everybody knows somebody who had a fingertip missing back in the day. So this was like survival skills. You needed to know if your finger ever got cut off, you get it on ice immediately because it will have the best chance of survival so you can have it reattached. So cryogenics, the purpose is to preserve until it can be used. Now, we've seen wonderful, wonderful things with cryogenics. There have been people who have been freed from incarceration because frozen DNA later exonerated them. The technology wasn't there back in the day, but now we have technology that can analyze the DNA down to, they won't say 100% certainty, but like on Maury Povich, you are 99.99. Pretty much that's 100%, y'all. For real, for real. DNA has exonerated people who've been incarcerated. It's exonerated men who've been falsely accused of fathering children. It's also proven that they fathered children. So we're familiar with cryogenics when used for those applications. But now let's take it a step further. We already have the technology to clone animals. Sheep have been successfully cloned, horses, pigs, and then not only that, organs for human beings have been grown in these cloned animals. So if you didn't know, a pig grew a heart that was then transplanted into a human. And he lived for maybe 6 months or so. But cryogenics is being heavily, heavily used. Now, if your money is long enough, you can have your whole entire body frozen for only $200,000. Or if your pockets is a little light and you ain't feeling 200 G's, you can do just your brain for $80,000.
I thought you were gonna say for only $9.99.
Yeah, only 200,000 or 80,000. Now, see, if this was my company, I'm gonna bundle it up, and I'm gonna have an offer you can't refuse, and I'm gonna start with your brain only, 80,000 for the brain. However, I'm gonna explain to you. Now, this is what can happen if you only use your brain. When we do get the technology to revive your brain, you will not have access to your body. So we can try you in another body. We can try, but there's no guarantee it's going to work. The chances are always higher that we can bring you back, and or if that doesn't work, we can clone you if you preserve your entire body. Now, if you sign up for this today, normally it's only $999,000. However, if you sign up today, we will actually cryogen, y'all know the word, whatever the word is, we will freeze you at the moment of your death to ensure the safety of all your organs prior to your death, right after your death, whatever it is. What we're gonna white glove the treatment. We're gonna come up. If you're in hospice, we'll come to the house. We'll come to the hospital. It's gonna be white glove treatment. And if you sign up today, you'll save $250,000. So you can get the entire bundle for $750,000. What do you think? Listen, and I'm gonna say it with a straight face, y'all. For real, for real. I love sales, and if you have a business, you better love it too. So you're listening to Savage Talk with Keefa. Stick around. We're going to take a quick break, but I want you to hear this. We're talking cryogenics and freezing your bodies for later use. We'll be right back. y'all? Savage Talk with Keefa is back. We are back live. I hope y'all have downloaded that app. 101 TKO Radio, or you can watch us on YouTube. So look, before the break, this is crazy, y'all. I've been talking about cryogenic trust, freezing the bodies. Now, I didn't realize this, but right now, today, there is over 200 people, close to 225 people that have been frozen. I knew they'd been doing it with pets, but there's almost 225 people as we speak frozen. And when I was reading how they actually do this, I swear to God, it sounds like Night of the Living Dead too. Okay, let me build this scenario. Because you got to be old enough to remember Night of the Living Dead. These are like classic zombie movies. But like Night of the Living Dead 2, the whole premise, there is a skeleton, a dead skeleton that is preserved in this container. It's dead. It's preserved in this container, but the military came up with this substance that reanimates people. Right? They wanted to use it for war. All of this stuff is discovered because they want to win wars. So this slime stuff was created by the military. And somehow the container spills and the slime gets out everywhere and it rains. And of course it goes into the graveyard. And that's how all the zombies start waking up. Now, in real life, these 225 folks that are frozen, this is what they do. So they drain the body of blood. Yeah, all of the blood is drained out. So far, nothing unusual. That's kind of how it is when people die anyway, when they get embalmed. But the fluid gets replaced with this other fluid that is like antifreeze. And what happens once that, I'm just calling it antifreeze for the sake of, I don't know the name of the fluid. Once your body, you heard me say your body, because I'm assuming we all going to get frozen because we want to come back and we want to make them millions when we come back and we want to have the bodies we want. We don't want to have, all of the stuff that took us out in the first place. So your body is then refilled with this fluid, then it's put in a container, and check this out. The temperature is lowered to minus 321 degrees. I can't even fathom what that feels like. All I can imagine is pain. Even trying to test it. You know how some dummies put their tongue on a pole to see, okay, we've all seen in videos. All I can imagine is for the dummies that do that, that tongue is going to instantly shatter. So minus 321 degrees, and there is how you will be preserved until such time as the technology will allow us to wake you up. And then not only just wake you up, probably before we wake you up. So see, this is me thinking, before I wake you up, maybe in your contract, if my company sold you the contract that says, we're going to do an overview of your history to see how you died and make sure that we check any of that before we wake you up. Because you know what we have now? We have stem cells. Let's say you died of uterine cancer. We can implant a new uterus and then wake you up. How about that? See, it's so many possibilities, y'all. This is what fascinates me and motivates me. It's not the thought, to tell you the truth, it's not the thought of coming back. It's the logistics of how we going to make it work. How we going to make it work so that we can bring you back and we can ensure you are the exact same person before you die, except healthy. Now, who is not going to spend their last penny to make that happen? That is the fascination I have with it. Because I believe in God, so I believe in the afterlife. It's not about the body, it's about the spirit. I know that. However, if you tell me I can come back with the same intelligence, with the same good health, and I can restart, am I going to do it? Do I want to do it? Because what if when I come back, the whole world is different? My children are gone. All of my loved ones are gone. I mean, hell, y'all done seen these vampire movies. Eventually, they want to go too. They get tired of living. Because when you've been seen and done everything, and when you've made all the money to do all the things you want to do in your life for yourself, and listen, y'all, not just yourself, and everyone in the world around you, when you've made that kind of money and made that kind of impact in people's lives, what's left for you to do? What's left? Maybe you want to keep learning something. Maybe there's just more to do because you really don't know what it's going to be like. If you did for 20 years and you come back 20 years later, imagine where we'll be with artificial intelligence in 20 years. I believe that at least 75% of the cancers people are dying from now, they will not be dying from. I believe that. Already right now today, you guys heard there's a blood test for Alzheimer's that can predict if you're going to have Alzheimer's in the next 5-6 years. If you haven't heard, check it out. Go get the test. Go get the test. So in 10 years, we will be so far progressed. We'll be so far progressed. Not only that, I don't think we'll have such a need to test these things on animals, because we'll be able to 3D print so much organic material. We can print the organs, the things that we need in these animals that we use to test, because testing on lab rats and monkeys, all of that stuff happens. As much as a lot of companies, they say, not tested on animals, how do you actually know it's not going to kill a human if you've not tested something that's organic material like a human? So while a lot of these companies say not tested on animals, what actually happens is when they're doing the testing, the testing is done under the name of another company, so that when they actually launch these products, they can truthfully say not tested on animals. But unless you have organic material to test products on, you cannot use them for human consumption. You can't just do human trials. I mean, some people have. There's a Netflix documentary on a doctor who was doing just that. He said he was preserving patients and healing them and curing them, when in fact he was actually killing them. He was a con man. He was killing his patients. So I say all that to say, technology, artificial intelligence, cryopreservation, everything advances. Everything advances. And you know what's crazy? As technology advances, human thought and connection and relationships regresses. Unless you are intentional about maintaining and growing your personal relationships. See, that's what makes us human. That's what makes us human, is relationships. So it doesn't matter how much technology we have. And I always say it, I'm a technology lover. I love to adopt technology first. I love being a pioneer when it comes to technology because I like to experience it. I like to know what's coming down the pipe, and I like to continually keep my eye of possibilities wide open. And in addition to that, the more you learn, the more you ward off Alzheimer's and other brain diseases. So it's important that you learn. And since I'm not necessarily one, I don't like doing crossword puzzles. I'd rather learn technology. I'd rather write about what robots will be like 20 years from now, surgeries that they'll be performing. We'll grow the uterus in the lab and have a robot swap out a woman's uterus when she wants to have babies and she can't. What about that, y'all? This is real stuff. This is real stuff. We are going beyond the $6 million man and the $6 million woman. We're going beyond just limbs, legs, and arms. We're talking about internal things. We really are. And when you can preserve your body, there's several ways we preserve our bodies. Good health is one way. But cold, that's why people do cold plunges now. Because now there are enough studies that show cold reduces inflammation. And what does that mean? Another word for reducing inflammation, preservation. You guys, you got to know what these things mean. Preservation of not only your exterior, but your interior. Cold plunges are good for your organs. And personally, I hate cold plunges, but I sure be trying just because I know the benefits. And it's just traditionally, it is not in our culture to like that cold. See, we like heat. We thrive in heat. That's how our ancestors did it. And that's why heat is easy for us. And we have a hard time tolerating cold. So we're talking cryopreservation. It's Savage Talk with Keefa. Stick around. We're taking a quick break and we'll be right back.
And we're live here outside.
What's up, what's up, what's up, y'all? Savage Talk with Keefa is back. Yeah, so we've been talking some interesting things. Cryopreservation by way of creating a cryogenic trust where you can freeze your body. And really, you know how this came about. Wealthy people who had so much stuff and money. In fact, their money and stuff was longer than the years they had on their life, wanted to preserve themselves, freeze themselves so that when the technology did come around that they can be reanimated, they can then start enjoying their money again and enjoying their stuff again. Now, to me, it sounds crazy. That part sounds crazy because number one, if you are somebody that believes in the afterlife, you know it's not about the wealth that you accumulate here. So why do you want to come back with the intention of spending the money you had to leave? See, to me, that sounds crazy. If that is your justification and if that's your reason. Now, if you want to come back to continue making an impact in changing the world, see, I'm with that. But if you want to just come back because all of your millions, let's say Donald Trump wants to get one of these cryogenic trusts. So he's going to freeze himself. Oh, Lord, have mercy. If Donald Trump frees himself with the intent to come back and run for president again, I know you could only do 2 terms, but wouldn't it be crazy if, and I know this sounds crazy, but I don't put it past Donald Trump because, see, he believes anything's possible. So y'all better get with the program and understand, if a man believes anything is possible and you didn't see that he really believes it and he's going after it, you better catch up. That's the Democrats' problem. See, they still living in la-la land. Meanwhile, Donald Trump believes everything he says. Even if it's a lie, he believes it. And sometimes, for good, bad, worse, or indifferent, sometimes all you need is belief in yourself. That's a fact, y'all. With belief in yourself, you can do anything. And the worst thing is to have your opponent believe that and you don't. Because, see, if you don't believe it, you already lost. So Donald Trump, let's just say he is going to get a cryogenic trust and he's going to freeze himself with the hopes of coming back after we all dead. We done all forgot how many women's lives he ruined. We done all forgot how he ruined the country. We done all forgot about the insurrection. We've all forgotten about that. But he's the lone survivor to get reanimated and come back for the purpose of running for president again, spending his millions, doing his same old shenanigans. Now, one of the reasons why, okay, so first off, nobody has been successfully reanimated. Let me just say that, okay? To my knowledge. Now, that doesn't mean it's a underground something or another military operation like Independence Day. That's not to say it ain't no underground operation where it's been successful that we don't know about and it's just top secret. So I'm talking about the things that I know that have been published, all of that. No one has been successfully brought back to life. I'm saying reanimated because, of course, there was a scary movie called Reanimator. And it was crazy. So part of the problem, this is what we got to think about. Part of the problem with reanimating a human that has been frozen to such temperatures that are so low, this is what's happened. It messes up the blood vessels. So when they have attempted to bring people back to life, even slow, Ice is formed in the blood vessels, which causes weakness in the blood vessels, causes them to tear, all of that. So it ain't without its problems. Don't think it's I got to just come up with 200 grand and I'm good. Let me just get to 200 grand, sign on the dotted line, and then I'll figure out the rest later. No, because you know what? By the time you're ready to come back and we have the technology, your 200,000 that you paid, soon as you wake up, you're gonna be signing another $200 million to get the rest of the stuff you need to walk up out of that cryogenic hospital. So these are things that we have got to think about. Realm of possibility. Realm of possibility. Right now, if you have not been watching the news and you don't know what's going on with the Democrats and the Republicans and all of the wars, there's multiple wars, y'all. You forgot about the Ukraine war. We all forgot about it because we've been dealing with Israel in the Gaza Strip. And it's crazy. And on top of that, we've been dealing with domestic terrorism. We have our own things happening right here, which is plenty to talk about. But the reason why I bring up politics mixed with artificial intelligence, mixed with business, is because the people that are wealthy, that have the money, is all one and the same. So we have got to expound upon how we see things. See, we work in compartmentalization. We have our businesses, then we have our family life, then we have our girlfriends, then we have our church friends, then we have all of these things. Okay, and then when we have time, we learn AI or do whatever. But the reality is, all of these things are intersectional. See, the life you're living now is because of politics. Everything you have right now in America is because of politics. Everything you don't have is because of politics. So the more knowledge you have, which is why I love AI, the less you are subjected to American politics. You have the discernment to know what's true and what's not. You know that everything you want to accomplish, you can absolutely accomplish. You're not a victim to the politics of your local political offices. That's not to say all politicians are bad, because they're not. There's some great politicians out there, and I happen to know some of them. But see, the country is not run by one politician. It's not run by one politician. You understand? So having all the knowledge, even if you never, ever, ever decide you want to do a cryo trust, heck, you may never even want to do a cold plunge. You need to know what people are out here doing, because there are people paying this money to be frozen with the hopes of coming back to do something else. So you need to know this, because that is going to affect you, because they're the ones with the money to get frozen. So you know they have money to make an impact, good, bad, or indifferent. You're listening to Savage Talk with Keefa. We're going to be right back after the break. What's up? What's up? What's up, y'all? Savage Talk with Keefa is back. So look, we in our second hour. We got about 10, 12 minutes left. I hope you've been getting what I've been putting down. Because if you are an ostrich or a turtle with your head in the sand, you're gonna take your head out the sand and you're gonna walk out like what was his name from God, what was that movie? I'm gonna get you. Y'all remember I'm gonna get you, sucker? Do y'all remember that? Now that's classic. I'm gonna get you, sucker. When what's his name came out of jail in his 70s clothes and his fish tank platforms, and he looked around and the world had moved forward without him. And so he was out of place. Now, I'm using that just to paint the picture, but the reality is, if you're doing that now and you're not paying attention to technology, if you are turning a blind eye to artificial intelligence, to the things that's going on around you because you think it's not going to affect your life, you're absolutely wrong. This artificial intelligence, in the next 5 years even, it is going to be intertwined in everything you touch. You better believe that everything you touch, from the doctors you see to the schools, we just talked about holographic higher learning, to how you receive treatment from mental health experts. I told y'all last week the business I was starting with the AI therapist. Listen, y'all, you cannot have your head buried in the sand. If you do, not only are you going to miss out, especially if you're a business. My life is helping people to see how all of the things that they believe do not affect their lives, in fact, have a profound impact on their life. Technology. How many of y'all have like grandmas, grandparents, or parents that said, I don't want no cell phone. I'm not going to be using that. And now what they doing? They calling you from Instagram. They think they calling you from the phone, but they doing an Instagram call, calling you by mistake. So even our elders need technology. Our elders need technology, and we have to be the ones to help them get it. We don't want our grandparents left behind. We don't want our grandparents and our elders marginalized. I see it all the time with disabled veterans. I do. I see it all the time with disabled children. We have to be technology advocates for them. They don't know what they don't know. They really don't. We have got to teach them that, number one, artificial intelligence, it may be invisible to you. You may think you're not using it, but you're already using it, whether you know it or not. You're using it with your cell phones. Now you have to be careful when your phone is in your pocket or sitting on the table, because you might be saying something you ain't supposed to be saying, and it's typing it about to send it to that person. So you better pay attention. You better pay attention, y'all. Artificial intelligence, it's intuitive. Machine learning. These texts almost know already what you're going to say when you texting with a certain person. Yeah. So when it types the word for you, that's all intuitive because the AI has been learning your speech, even down to your ebonics and you know how you short words. We use acronyms. We text with acronyms all the time. Artificial intelligence is learning how you speak, learning your cadence, learning certain things you say to certain people in your tone of text. And in its job is to make your life easier. It fills in the words for you. Now, so you got to pay attention. Remember, the fear used to be butt dialing. The fear used to be butt dialing someone. And I had a friend, one of my best friends. He butt dialed the girl he really, really liked. And he was talking like Dolomite. Oh, he was talking so much junk about this girl. And when he picked up the phone, hello? Yeah, I heard you. Uh-huh. So listen, that used to be the fear, but butt dialing is not even the fear no more. I mean, it's still a fear, but that's not the real fear. Artificial intelligence, the more you know, the better you can be prepared for how you're going to implement it in your life. So your Alexas and your, what's the one that starts with an E? Your Blink cameras, your Ring cameras, all of those things have artificial intelligence too. And I'm going to tell you something that's crazy. The cameras are made to get a clear picture, but when the light is low, it's just like Photoshop and stuff. When light is low, it intuitively tries to fill in what it thinks should be there. So you can have cases of mistaken identity. Listen, I swore to God, one day I seen my ex-husband walking out my house. I promise. I was ready to call the police. I really was. I was ready to call the police. But it turned out when I zoomed in on the picture, it was one of my friends who we had came out the house together. But what happened, the act of zooming in so close on that picture, the technology tries to fill in the gaps where it's grainy in low light. And as a result, that picture looked like someone else. At that point, it didn't even look like my ex-husband. It didn't look like the husband. So I was ready to send somebody to jail. And it was my friend. Mistaken identity. You ever heard that eyewitnesses are very unreliable? That was the first time I ever experienced that, because I could have sworn on God, that's the husband. That's the husband. I seen him coming out my house. Here is the camera proof. And I was ready to call the police and send him to jail. Eyewitness is unreliable. This is why we have got to stay in the AI game, because all of these chatbots and all of this technology, we have got to put input from our perspective, the Black and brown people perspective. Otherwise, it's going to be skewed just like the real world. It's going to be biased. And when I say it, AI learning is going to be skewed and biased just like the real world. So we cannot be afraid of it. We've got to use it. And I want to leave you with this one example. When it comes to the U.S. Census, most Black and brown people, we don't tell the census how many people living in our house. We just really don't want to tell our business. That's what it is. We don't want nobody to know our business. In fact, if I got to call an employee to look at something I want to buy out the store, I ain't even going to do that, because I don't even want them to know what I'm buying. That's just how we are. Our culture just typically, we are untrusting and we don't want to share our information. But in this case, if we are not using artificial intelligence, if we're not putting information into it, just like with the census, when the money comes around, it's not going to be earmarked for us. That's just the truth. If you don't want to share the information, yeah, you don't want the government knowing you got your aunties, your uncles, and all of that, and y'all living in the same house. But the reality is, if they do not account for your people, that money is not coming to your community. And so we cannot then start screaming and hollering, our people don't ever get nothing. We got to be the ones to go get it. So artificial intelligence, we have got to be all in it. And what I tell you today may sound crazy. Reanimation, freezing your bodies, holographic learning, teleportation, all of that might sound crazy today. But anytime you think something sounds crazy, I want you to be reminded that everything you know now first started as a possibility in someone's mind. It's Tuesday. You've been listening to Savage Talk with Keefa, live on 101 TKO Radio and Stonecrest, y'all, live on YouTube. Download that app. I hope you have enjoyed this show. I certainly have, and I'm going to be looking for y'all on Thursday, 5 to 7 p.m., Savage Talk with Keefa, and I am out.
101 TKO Radio.